Shalom. First and foremost, we're going to say Call, Lion Law, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Kakadash. Double honors to elders, apostles, or great millstone. They rule and teach well. Peace and salutations to hopefully elect and spread the truth out to four winds. This is your brother Shamar, coming for edification of the scriptures. All right, today's lesson is going to be on the Edomites, the nation of Esau. All right, we know the nation of Esau is an ancient uh, ancient uh nation, all right, ancient nation, all right, dating back past the before Christ era. All right, we know the nation of Esau is a so-called white man. All right, you know the ordinary Caucasian that walk around today. That's the nation. That's an Edomite, and they come from a nation of Edomites, which is a family, if you will. All right, and we know that the so-called white man, whose true nationality is an Edomite, put the Israelites inside of captivity, and then we were freed from that captivity. And I just wanted to do a video because I was reading, it say bless the man that readeth. So I was studying, and I seen this photo on Wikipedia. So I wanted to shoot a video on it. You see, in this photo, you got a group of Edomites huddled around. It looked like 2 or 3 Israelites being lynched. All right, where's lynching? All right, when you tie a rope around someone's neck and raise it and say, choke them to death. And sometimes if you drop them with the rope around their neck, it snaps their spinal cord and it kills them fast. All right, and we know this was a racist era. All right, it says the 1920s. The slaves were freed in the 1800s, the mid to late 1800s. All right, and was under Jim Crow laws from then on until the civil rights movement. So let's look at the paragraph underneath the photo. It says white man posed for a photograph. All right, you don't pose, you don't just pose. You see them around smiling and crackling and giggling. All right, like they just did something so great. So it says white man posed for a photograph in the 1920s, Duluth, Minnesota, lynchings. 2 of the black victims are still hanging while the third is on the ground. Lynchings were often public spectacles for the white community to celebrate white supremacy in the United States. So that's what I was reading about. I was reading about white supremacy. I don't know why, but then it reminded me what's really going on in the world. So you got these white people and they in these high seats. All right, they got these high seats in the government, man, and they passing legislation. All right, and trying to get their agenda going through the government. They want more police, black communities. The black community bad enough because of the white man. Who gave them the drugs and the guns? All right, these governments across the board. All right, to make their money. All right. So this white supremacy I was reading is pretty much saying that they saying the Edomites are saying that they superior to everybody else, all the other nations. Let's go to the top. White supremacy is the belief that white people are superior to those of other races. The belief favors the maintenance and defense of any power and privilege held by the white people. So it says their beliefs, these white supremacists, and part of their agenda is they want to defend all power seats for the president, the presidency. All right, the House of Representatives, the Senate. They want it all white, man. They don't want no black people in it. They want it all Edomite. All right, and they trying to defend it, but it's falling because it's the Most High. It's the Most High is doing. All right, you got what you got? You got Barack Obama, man. You got Barack Obama. You got Kamala Harris. Barack Obama was president of the United States. You got Barack Obama. He was just president of the United States, right? And that put a big dent inside that white supremacist view. All right, Kamala Harris, vice president of the United States. All right, another dent. All right, I think we even had some black justices on the Supreme Court, Hispanic and black justices, colored people. All right. Well, it says white supremacy has roots in the now discredited doctrine of scientific racism, and that reminded me of the movie Django. All right, you go to the movie Django, and what happened when Calvin Kennedy, all right, found out Django and Dr. Schultz were when Django and Dr. Schultz was there for Broomhilda. All right, um, he brought out a skull and said that the there's a difference between the black brain and the Edomite brain, the Israelite brain and the Edomite brain. And he said that the Israelite brain had more servitude, and the Edomite brain had more scientific, technological advancements to the brain. So that's scientific racism, saying there's a difference between men in general. They say the key justification for European colonialism. So they put that in politics. So they will have a doctor do experiments, and then those doctors would be getting shit wrong, but they will make up a theory and use it inside political advancements. So they'll be like, the reason why black people aren't allowed to run for president or vote for in these elections or have equal rights because they're not equal, they're lesser. And we know the scriptures say that the Israelites are superior, actually superior to the Edomites and other nations. But they say the exact opposite. And we believe over here at Great Millstone that they heard that the Most High said that the Israelites was more superior, that cause they are God chosen people, and changed and got jealous and made that their doctrine. That's that. Now it's the exact flip reverse. As a political ideology, it imposes and maintains cultural, social, political, historical, and institutional domination by white people and non-white supporters. In the past, the ideology had been put into effect through socio-economic and legal structures such as Atlantic slave trade. All right. So it said that it was used in social, political, historical, and institutional, all right, dominations. So let's see if we can get this any bigger. So them Israelites, man, who was probably innocent. Most of the time, the Jake ain't really do nothing. Jake will be walking down the street and see a pretty white lady and wink at her or wave, and then the Edomites, the damn spiritual demon Satan counterpart, will be will get up and kill the Jake, man. You gotta be one evil, sick individual, man, to just outwave that this woman and then to get killed a moment after. You know, it don't go down like that. That's not how it works, man. You know, the scriptures say that Israelites can give their daughters as wives to the other nations, man. In the same way that Edomites could give their daughters to wife to other nations. But the Edomites wasn't trying to hear that, man. They had a sick belief that they were superior and that they could do whatever they want, man. That's like sitting on that with great pride. All right. So it says white supremacy was dominant in the United States both before and after the American Civil War. All right. So white supremacy is what? The belief that the Edomites are superior to all other nations. All right. So it say it was a dominant. What does it mean to be dominant? It was a very big thing. All right. It was a big commotion in the United States. So you could go is if something's dominant, that means it's very big, very large. It's a very big issue. So if you go anywhere in the United States before or around the American Civil War time, what you gonna experience? You gonna experience white supremacy. All right, you go in the store, you don't get to go first. It don't matter if you was there first or not. The white man get to go first because he's superior. He think he your master. He think you're his God. He think of himself as a god to you. You get on the bus, you gotta sit in the back, with next to the heat, next to the engine, next to the wheels on the seat on the bus and shit. So yeah, it had presided for decades after a Reconstruction era. The Virginia Slave Code of 1705 socially segregated white colonists from black enslaved persons, making them disparate groups and hindering their ability to unite. All right, so it says this was through the government. This wasn't just uh, it's like crying like the government don't know about it and people just acting towards it, acting on their beliefs. But no, this was the belief of the government, and it still is to this day. It's still white supremacists in government in these power seats that feel they could treat Jake any way they want to. You know, it say that in the scriptures, man. It say that you gotta let brotherly love continue. All right, you gotta have brotherly love. When somebody talking, you don't talk over them. When somebody walking, you don't push them down in the street. All right, you gotta respect somebody's wishes. So it says socially segregated white colonists from black enslaved persons, making them disparate groups. All right, so it says the government has to play in this. So even if that beef, that the wickedness could be stamped out, the government wouldn't allow it. Unity of the commoners was a perceived fear of Virginia aristocracy, which who wished to prevent repeated events such as the Bacon's Rebellion occurred 29 years prior. Let's see what that is. So it says the Bacon's Rebellion was an armed rebellion by Virginia settlers that took place from 1676 to 1677. It was led by Nathaniel Bacon against colonial governor William Berkeley after Berkeley refused Bacon's request to drive Native American Indians out of Virginia. Thousands of Virginians from all classes, including those of indentured servitude and races, rose up in arms against Berkeley, chasing him from Jamestown and ultimately torching the settlement. The rebellion was first suppressed by a few armed merchant ships from London, whose captains sided with Berkeley and the Loyalists. So it says it was a rebellion, but it was a rebellion of the citizens of Virginia, which was mainly Edomites, against the government because the government had refused to give or drive out the Native Americans from the city. Some more racism. They feel that they don't have to share. The Israelites or the Native Americans, as they call them, um, they was on the land first, and then you got Nathaniel Bacon. He came. The settlers came to the land, and they try to take over the land and push the people out. You know, it say you're not supposed to remove the father's landmark, man. You can't come to a land and just push the inhabitants out. The Most High got to give you permission to do that. Let's go to some scriptures. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Having what? Having great wrath. What does it mean when you inflict your wrath on somebody? That means you inflict pain, death, torture on the person. Historical atrocities. You look at the history. All right, you look at history. It's very a bloody history, man. Emotional history between the Edomites and the inhabitants of this earth. Because it's not just black people that they done did this to. Is you got the Indians. You got India with Gandhi. They didn't like the way they was being treated over there. You got the apartheid in South Africa with Nelson Mandela. They didn't like the way they was being treated by the so-called white man. So it's not just American history. That's why we say the nation of Esau is a plague. You know what I'm saying? And it got to be removed out of rulership for this earth ever to, be replenished and be ruled in righteousness. So it says the devil. We know when you hear the word devil, all right, in the scriptures, that's mainly talk about the nation of Esau, because that's the spiritual demon Satan counterpart for him to enact the will of the Most High on the left hand side. All right. So we know how does that work though? We know that Isaac, all right, the son of Abraham, all right, who Yahweh Shai, you go Matthew 1, the first chapter, first verse, and it say that Yahweh Shai was the son of Abraham. All right, who was the son of Abraham? Isaac. All right, and it said what? It say that he had two sons. All right, we know that was the separation of good and evil. All right, Jacob being the righteous and Esau being the wicked. All right. So it says, having great wrath because he knoweth that he have but a short time. All right. So why is Esau acting like this, man? Why are the Edomites acting like this? All right. Jealousy, man. Because they know the truth, the historical truth, which is this Bible is a history book. It ain't just a story book. All right. The nations. All right. The true names of these nations is sitting right here in the scriptures. All right. The Most High left us a book, all right, a historical book with future events. All right, it's gonna tell us the future. Okay. So they angry because they rulership was written in the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter. They say that they was gonna rule, and then Jacob was gonna rule forever after, and that means that they gonna have to come out of rulership. All right, so he have great wrath because he know he only has a short time. Okay. So this is the book. So this is the book of Revelation 11. So if you go up here, we know that this is talking about all the prophets. All right, it says, let's start at 11 and 3. It says, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. All right, so it says the two witnesses. All right, let's keep reading. These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks before the Most High, the God of the earth. So it says he got two witnesses. All right, we know that's the northern kingdom and the prophets of the northern kingdom and the prophets of the southern kingdom of the nation of Israel, which is the so-called black, Latinos, and Seminole Indians today. So it says the Most High has two witnesses. All right, and what is a witness? A witness is a prophet. All right, so they will prophesy clothed in sackcloth. That's why you see us with the garments on. All right, with that linen and the fringes at the bottom. These are so it says these are two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeded out of their mouth and devoured them. And if any man will hurt them, he must be in this manner be killed. It says, and these have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And it says, and when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. All right, so we know that it say what? That they got the power to shut heaven. When they shut heaven and stop the rain, turn water to blood. All right, that's the spiritual powers that the Most High is going to give unto his elect. All right, which is of the nation of Israel, which are the prophets. All right, and it says what? But it say after we finish our testimony, all right, our prophesying and us experiencing these curses, all right, we're gonna be put to death by who? The beast. All right, when you hear the word beast in the scriptures, it's talking about a it's talking about a country or a nation, a kingdom. All right, we know that is the nation of Esau. Okay, the fourth beast, the Roman Empire, because we're still in the Roman Empire today. All right, the rebirth Roman Empire, that's what you call the earth today. It say what the beast gonna do to the prophets. It say they gonna kill them. All right. So you gotta be prepared to taste that death. All right, for this truth. All right, it's gonna be a very painful death, but you gotta take it. All right, let's get a precept. So it's the book of Revelation 20:4. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them which were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their heads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahweh Shai 1,000 years. All right, so it says what? It say that you're going to have a throne. All right, say that the elect, the ones that refuse to take the mark of the beast with the RFID chip, you're gonna receive a throne and you're gonna reign for thousands of years with God and His Son. All right, but it say what? You gotta be prepared to be put to death for this truth. All right, you gotta be like the brothers in the book of Maccabees who refused to eat pork, even in the face of death. All right, if you read the story, you read the historical account, not the story, but the historical account, it say that the Edomites came and tried to force the Israelites to eat pork, and they rounded up 7 brothers and their mother and killed them and threw them in a fire for not eating the swine's flesh. Back to this article. All right, so it says prior to the Civil War, many wealthy white Americans owned slaves. They tried to justify the economic exploitation of black people by creating a scientific theory of white superiority and black inferiority. One such slave owner, future President Thomas Jefferson, wrote in 1785 that blacks were inferior to the whites in the endowments of body and mind. So that's Thomas Jefferson. He just, Thomas Jefferson. All right, you heard of Thomas Jefferson before. All right, it say that he was a racist. All right, it said he was a devil. All right, a deceiver. All right, he said that blacks were inferior to whites. All right, but if you look at the theories of if you look at the theories of their adversaries, all right, it pretty much said that blacks, whites, and Muslims are all alike. All people are created equal. We know that they say that the Israelites are superior to all other nations, but we know anybody that had any type of sympathy for Jake, all right, any sympathy for Jake, all right, said that all men were created equal. So it says, in the antebellum South, 4 million slaves were denied freedom. The outbreak of the Civil War saw the desire to uphold white supremacy being cited as a cause of state secession and the formation of the Confederate States of America. So that's going into history. That's going into the whole history of racism and the history of the United States. All right, but we know that it's gotten better because the Most High, we under the curses. The Most High removing the curses of Deuteronomy 28. All right, that He said He was gonna put on us if we disobeyed the laws, statutes, and commandments. So He removing those curses. So now we're doing a whole lot better, man. We're not being whipped day in and day out. We're not being lynched on every street corner because of the hatred of the white man, the insanity of the Edomites. All right, and eventually we gonna bust all the curses. All right, what's the biggest curse we got on us? All right, these chains of darkness. All right, these bodies. All right, it say we gods trapped inside of these bodies, man. So we gonna receive our spiritual bodies, our celestial bodies. All right, but I hope this lesson was edifying. I'm gonna close out. I'm gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak, Kodash, Kwam Yasharala, Wa Baba Ba, Shalom.